Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum is drawing another line in the sand to Donald Trump. She's not on the receiving end of Donald Trump's bullying. She's saying, we here in Mexico are a very proud people. You're not going to take advantage of us. You're going to treat us fairly or else. Remember, she previously threatened retaliatory tariffs against Donald Trump and also was very critical of how Donald Trump was trying to blame Mexico for situations that she said were actually problems in America, like synthetic drug consumption. It's not a Mexico problem. And she said, okay, you want to cause us pain? We'll cause you pain. We should be partners, but treat us with respect. And now she's drawing another line in the sand and she's saying, look, you're not just going to deport people from countries that aren't Mexico to Mexico. We're Mexico. We're Mexicans. You're not going to send Venezuelans to Mexico or Guatemalans to Mexico. If you're going to do mass deportation exercises like you want to do, you're not going to involve Mexico in your charade. Here is what she said specifically. Mexico president is asking Trump, you're going to deport non-Mexican migrants directly to their home countries. And Mexico is not just going to be used by you in that way for you to, just do your mass deportation plans. Now, this also comes on the same day where she's also drawing a line in the sand to Canada. Now, here's the thing. A lot of our Canadian followers have basically told me, and I really respect our Canadian following. I know we have a big Canadian following here at the MeidasTouch Network. They said, look, Ben, what Justin Trudeau did in going to Mar-a-Lago, that was the responsible thing for a prime minister to do. And you explained to me, too, that with all of the problems being caused by the Conservative Party in Canada, by Pierre Poilievre, by people like Doug Ford, by people like Danielle Smith, and the Premier of Alberta, Doug Ford, the Premier of Ontario, that Trudeau did what Trudeau had to do there. But the Conservative Party's out there basically attacking Mexico. And you have Doug Ford out there saying, look, this is, they're saying like, look, Mexico is like, how dare Donald Trump compare us to Mexico? Here, watch what Doug Ford from the Conservative Party in Canada had to say. Again, Mexico's still an ally, though. I mean, there still is the United States, Canadian, Mexico, treaty. There's still, which was after NAFTA. Here, listen to what Doug Ford said. Play this clip.
I want to emphasize, to compare us to Mexico is the most insulting thing I've ever heard from our friends and closest allies, United States of America.
And now let me share with you what Danielle Smith said, the Premier of Alberta, and again, Conservative Party, again, attacking Mexico, saying that Mexico, we should kick Mexico out and just focus on, trading directly with the United States, and basically treating this as like a zero-sum game. Here, play this clip.
The real issue that we have is that Mexico has not been that equal partner with the United States. And in addition to that, they're inviting China to engage in investment in Mexico, which is hollowing out the manufacturing sector in both America as well as Canada. And so that's why I think we need to take a bilateral approach, put Canada first, and be able to get a carve out in for all of North America, for both Canada and U.S. if we can. And if not, then we'll certainly be prepared to work with the American administration on whatever products it is that they need, so that we can have a constructive relationship. And I think our lead is going to be on energy.
Do you agree with Ontario Premier Doug Ford that maybe Mexico should be cut out of the process if it won't comply with sort of the spirit of the USMCA? That seems to be what you just said there. Am I understanding you correctly?
1,000%. And I had a chance to talk to Premier Doug Ford about it. And so I'm very much in sync with what he has to say. Look, Mexico is important to Canada. They're our fourth largest trading partner in Alberta. But just to give you the idea of the difference in the relationship, we have about $2.9 billion in bilateral trade with Mexico. We have $188 billion in bilateral trade with the United States. We certainly cannot sacrifice our relationship and friendship with our largest trading partner if this is a trade irritant.
And just so, our Canadian supporters know this, but just in case you're not familiar with Canadian politics, like Doug Ford, the premier of Ontario. Here he talks about how his support for Donald Trump would never waver. Here's what Doug Ford had to say. Play this clip.
Are you still a supporter of Donald Trump?
Absolutely. I wouldn't waver. Like the GOP's wavering, I wouldn't waver.
And so while the Conservative Party in Canada is out there like now attacking Mexico and trying to, look, the Conservative Party was out there cuddling up to Donald Trump. And they were saying they were basically a Canadian version of kind of MAGA out there in their support of Donald Trump. Ford would say all these great things about Trump. And then when Trump attacked Canada, Canada's reaction was then to, the Conservative Party in Canada's reaction was then to attack Mexico and say, let's kick Mexico out. Let's team up, Donald, and let's bully Mexico out. When it should basically be, what Trudeau's, let's figure out, let's work together, because ultimately, if you're going to pursue, this kind of geopolitical bullying, all that's going to do is bring China in and then force Mexico to join the BRICS bloc, right? Of Brazil, of Russia, of India, of China, of South Africa, and other countries that are now joining with China and Russia in that alliance. That's all you're going to do here, and you're going to weaken one of the strongest alliances between Mexico, Canada, and the United States. Your sex life is important, but your schedule is busy. You don't have the time to go to a doctor's office to get treated for ED. Through HIMS, you can get personalized ED treatment without stepping foot outside of your door. HIMS is changing men's healthcare by providing you with the access to affordable sexual health treatments from the comfort of your couch. HIMS provides access to a range of doctor-trusted ED treatments like chewable hard mints and Viagra and Cialis, and they're generics for up to 95% cheaper. The process is 100% online, so there's no need for uncomfortable doctor visits. Just answer a series of questions on their site, and a medical provider will determine the right treatment options for you. If prescribed, your medication ships directly to you in discreet packaging for free. No insurance is needed, and one low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care. With hundreds of thousands of trusted subscribers, HIMS can help you find the ED option that works best for you. So start your free online visit today at hims.com/Meidas. That's HIMS.com/MEIDAS for your personalized ED treatment options. hims.com/Meidas. Look, the products mentioned are chewable compounded products which are not approved by or verified or safety or effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan. Here also is what Claudia Sheinbaum, the president of Mexico, said. She goes, look, she says, she punched back and she was like, look, don't say that about us, Canada. Like, we have cultural riches here in Mexico. And she's saying, look, we take great pride in our country right here, and stop mocking us. Like, stop bullying us. Mexico has been doing very well lately with, from Obrador to Claudia Sheinbaum. We're not going to be bullied. And I think that's an important step that, that she's taking there and kind of consistently fighting back. And, I did this other video as well. That, and she was forced to say that, by the way, because you have some people in the Conservative Party in Canada, I think, that were kind of like bullying her and saying, drop Mexico. And it should be like, let's just stop threatening each other with tariffs. Like, I think that's the right response. Stop threatening each other with tariffs. Allies should work together, because what's happening, as I said, is you got President Xi from China coming in, and he's using all this language of cooperation. We want to invest in you. Let's work together. Let's establish a world order. All this stuff that he's pushing is the direct contrast to let's kick out countries. Let's get rid of countries. Let's bully countries. Even if ultimately their plan is to do just that, they're using diplomatic language versus language that's very divisive. And so, that's why I think what the Conservative Party, you may disagree with me, in Canada is doing is a form of kind of MAGA bullying. But that's just that's just me right there. But we saw the photos. I talked about this of Claudia Sheinbaum We saw Claudia Sheinbaum with President Xi, meeting with her at the G20 with in Brazil, and so there you have it. Again, I just think it's interesting to see her kind of push back, draw these lines in the sand, and do it with a great degree of confidence. And I want to reflect on what our Canadian supporters were saying, who by and large were actually supportive of Trudeau going to Mar-a-Lago, educating Donald Trump what tariffs are, explaining why it would be dangerous. And now we're seeing, his kind of adversaries, the kind of a similar party to MAGA in Canada, who are now bullying Mexico. And that's how they think that this is how they could work with Trump to bully Mexico, and you're just going to have tit for tat. It just doesn't make any sense. But hit subscribe. Let's get to 4 million subscribers. Thanks for watching.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.